Everybody. My name is Scott Chalmers. I'm with Manitoba Agriculture, and I manage the Westman Agricultural Organization, or WADO. And today here in front of the plots, we have special guests here today. We have Ken Gross with Ducks Unlimited Canada. We have Edgar Hammermeister with Western Ag Professional Agronomy. And we have Elmer Cascu, who's a consultant for Ducks Unlimited as well. Today we're going to be talking about a project that we have cooperatively together at WADO here. We're down here in Melita actually. It's July 16th, and looks like the crop is just finishing up here. It's probably entering a hard dough stage, and we're looking at some winter wheat here. So the project that we have is it's actually a fertility project looking at high yielding winter wheat. We have 3 different varieties here under 2 different fertility regimes. So we have Gateway, Elevate, and Wildfire varieties of winter wheat. And we have 2 different approaches for fertility. So one is a producer practice, and the other one is a more balanced approach that uses soil tests. So I'll maybe get the guys here to maybe explain the objective of the trial and maybe those fertility treatments a little bit more in depth.
Thanks, Scott. We want to thank Ag Action funding for a proposal that was sent in by Winter Cereals Manitoba that Western Ag and DU were able to partner on to bring this information forward to producers, and thanks to WADO for implementing the plan. And really there are some new varieties of winter wheat that are out there, and it's been a while since we looked at fertility recommendations, and we wanted to see if some of the plants are becoming a little bit more able to scavenge for nutrients. Maybe they're a little more efficient. So we wanted to determine what are the best fertility practices that producers should use on some of the newer varieties. Wildfire is the newest one out that's very high yielding, and so we're looking at that in this trial. Gateway is the gold standard for a shorter variety that really yields well in Manitoba, and then Elevate is the 3rd variety that we selected just to see. It's supposed to be a little bit more drought tolerant, so it may have better fit in different parts of the province.
Okay, I'll maybe get Edgar to explain the fertility treatments. We have one that's a producer practice, and the other is a more balanced approach.
So the fertility practices, the producer practice was 100 pounds of nitrogen, all spring applied, and 30 pounds of phosphate put down at the time of seeding. That compared to a balanced approach, and it was a total of 155 pounds of nitrogen, 55 pounds, 55 pounds of phosphate, and 85 pounds of potassium, no sulfur in this circumstance. With the nitrogen application, it was a split application, 50% being down at seeding time and then 50% in the spring application. The idea behind being more assertive with the management is that with these high-yielding wheat varieties, I guess there's 2 goals. We want to get the yield potential that the genetics makes available to us, but also there's a quality consideration that we're trying to, when we sell the product, the end product, that we're meeting a higher quality goal as well to get more value out of the crop. And the balanced fertility, people have known for a long time about getting nitrogen on early. Winter wheat taking up the crop aggressively early, but few people appreciate that potassium is being taken up basically in lockstep with nitrogen. And growing season considerations, winter wheat's trying to grow very early in the season. Soils are cold. Potassium doesn't move very well in the soil. Mm-hmm. And so to have potassium available for the crop for early uptake, just to balance out the blend, is the goal here.
Elmer's here. We're going to talk about some of the things that we've seen in the past with this kind of research, and kind of what we're expecting from the plot and maybe how that can be applied to farmers. Elmer?
So yeah, in my discussion with producers, it's they've been in a bit of a predicament with some of the higher yielding red spring wheat varieties, and their yields have certainly increased over the last number of years. And so with the winter wheat varieties, we've got much improved genetics, and as Edgar had mentioned, a lot of these winter wheat varieties have certain really high yield potential. But it's not just as, initially I thought, well, we'll just bump the nitrogen, like that's simple enough, we'll just add more nitrogen, that'll just bump the yields. But we just kept hitting a wall at probably 2/3 the yield potential of these varieties, like in that 65 to 70 bushel range. Varieties now have the potential to yield in the 100 bushel range. And as long as Mother Nature cooperates under dryland conditions, we should be targeting 85 to 100 bushels an acre. But that's where a lot of this this research has come into play, is because we really need to reevaluate the way we fertilize winter wheat. It's not just the historic phosphate in the fall and dump a bunch of nitrogen on in the spring. We really have to look at, with the high yield potential of these varieties, providing a more balanced approach to the amount of fertility that these varieties need to perform.
Right, yeah, for sure. I noticed in the area when we do our research, quite often our soil tests are requiring zinc. For example, sometimes we run into zinc deficiencies around here, so we apply, I know with our research plots, about 2 pounds to the acre, kind of as a maintenance or sort of building on the soil profile there. So maybe we'll go through some of the treatments here. We'll bring the camera in close and just take a look at each plot. We have Elevate here with a balanced approach. It looks pretty green still. We have Gateway with a 100% spring application. That's what the farmer practice would be. Then we have Wildfire with the 100% spring practice as well. It's the farmer practice. Next one is Wildfire with a balanced approach. You can see there's a couple of holes in the plot. That's more of a seeding malfunction with the residue, but nonetheless it's very green here. Next we have Gateway, and it's the balanced approach as well. Then Elevate with the 100% spring application, the producer practice. So from what I can see in the field here, there's actually quite a bit of a difference between the spring approach and the balanced approach. And the balance seems to be holding on to its flag leaves a little longer and a lot more greener. And I believe, you know, this Friday we may get a rain, so it's going to benefit from that rainfall again. And where maybe some of the spring producer practice here is kind of run out of nitrogen, and it's kind of selling out early, so it's just not going to have that potential that the balanced approach could have. The results for these for this data and this trial will be posted on the Manitoba Diversification Center's website through the 2020 annual report, and I'll be sharing that link with Ken Gross, who also posted on Grow Winter Wheat on that website, which will be made available, of course, in the winter time here. So with that, thank you for joining us.